All right, from the beginning. My name's Friday. I carry a badge. Police officers.
You any idea who the other man was?
My partner's Bill Gannon. You got just one big question.
Yeah.
When?
Now on MeTV Fresno, Xfinity 187.
Hi, I'm John Malos. Welcome to this special edition of Connect with Me on the showroom floor at Ventura TV on this day. No phone calls, a special program with Doug Vagim, who was here recently talking about the Fulton Mall and water rates. We're back with our special program in just a moment.
Tonight I want to discuss the importance of the television medium to the American people.
And we're back here on the showroom floor at Ventura TV on this day. No phone calls, though, to say, because I'm here all alone. This is a special tape program. Doug Vagim, the former Fresno County supervisor, was here in our studio recently talking about the Fulton Mall and, of course, water rates. And, of course, this was the front page of the Fresno Bee last Friday. It showed a picture of the current Fulton Mall. On the back, you can see the packed audience there at Fresno City Council chambers. They were deciding on what to do with the Fresno Fulton Mall. This thing started about 5 o'clock in the evening. They finally took that vote at, 11 o'clock? They finally got done at 11 o'clock. They finished up. They voted 5-2 in favor to open up that mall to cars. Show you a picture of the Fulton Mall and what it looks like now. Of course, it's been this way for the better part of 49 years, closed to cars, pedestrians only. But the council said no, and the mayor said no. We want to open this back up. Let's roll the videotape. The last time this thing was opened up to cars was 1963/64. This is rare video, rare footage, color no less, of the Fulton Mall being torn up back then to close it off to traffic. Well, this is going to be a $20 million project to revert it back to opening it up to cars. None of that money will come out of the general fund. It'll all be federal grants. The council said 5-2. Yes, let's open it up last Thursday evening. Doug Vagim is going to be talking about that. Now, the council also asked that a handful of actions be taken, including to adopt an environmental impact report, also designate portions of Fulton, Kern, Mariposa, and Merced as streets, and remove the current designation of pedestrian mall open space. So a lot going on. They also want to apply for $1.8 million in Fresno County Measure C oriented developmental funds. So a lot going on, as I said, in downtown Fresno. This is all part of the mayor's push to revitalize downtown. She thinks if you open up the mall to cars, they will come and downtown will be revitalized. Live in our studio right now is Doug Vagim, the former Fresno County supervisor, who will talk about the Fulton Mall, whether he favors the opening or not. He'll also talk about your water rates scheduled to go up this summer. We're back with our program. Again, a special edition of Connect with Me. No phone calls on this day. Back in just a moment.
When you like Ventura TV Appliance on Facebook, it's nice. But when you love the Whirlpool appliances we deliver, it's even better. Our website is cool, and it's a good place to start. But you really should touch the merchandise before you buy. Touch the new Whirlpool Ice Collection. It offers a modern style made to create an inspiring kitchen experience. Save big on this Whirlpool Black Ice or White Ice kitchen. Come in to Ventura TV Appliance and touch the merchandise today.
Back here on our special program here on Connect with Me on MeTV Fresno. No phone calls on this day. We're sorry about that, but it is a tape program. Glad to have in Doug Vagim, our friend here on Connect with Me once again. Hi, Doug.
Hi, John. How are you? Good to see you.
Hey, good to see you too. Thanks for being here. And so the Fulton Mall. Okay, your opinion, what's the right thing to do or should have been done years ago?
Well, let's step way back when they first did it. You just saw the videotape. I was a youngster in high school, just out of high school, and I disagreed with them tearing it up then.
Yeah.
But it was from the superior minds of our community who said that they have to do this in order to compete with the suburbia shopping centers. And if we do the same thing, it looks like a shopping center out there downtown, they're all coming because there'll be parking and all that kind of stuff. Well, turn the clock ahead, we found out that suburbia won anyway, right? You can't hold back growth. The problem is now, in my estimation, John, is that it's kind of like an Andy Warhol picture. You didn't like it when you first saw it, but all of a sudden it's being sold on auction for $50 million. In other words, we have a national treasure that's been recognized by the National Historic Societies that this is something that's special because there's hardly any left. Isn't that interesting? It's so
Very
unique.
few downtown malls like this left.
Well,
Sacramento still has one.
They have theirs, but
Yeah.
and that's a little different because they got about $150 billion floating around the Capitol.
Yeah, well, yeah, that too.
So that allows that mall to have a little bit
Right,
more
and
authority.
Sacramento is going to build, I think in the next few years, they're trying to hassle and work through all the politics of building that new basketball arena downtown for the Kings.
Right, right.
So it's a little different story.
Yeah, and they have Old Town on one anchor,
Yeah.
and then they have the convention center on the other side of the convention. So it's an anchor on both sides.
So should the mall be left as is, or should it be torn out? In your judgment, if you were making the call.
Well, I think there are other ways to save the mall as the mall, and I think
So
that-
leave it as is.
because there's other places that are an example. Go to Laguna Beach, for example. You'll see the ability to drive and go right, or San Francisco. You can go right in between buildings and go into parking garages and then come back up at that level. The problem with the Fresno Mall is you already had you had to take the outskirt roads to park, and you never saw the front
Now,
of
let
the store.
me tell you what the problem with the Fresno Mall is. You want to hear what the problem is? The perception is, I'm talking about the perception. I don't know if it's reality. You have people down there that are maybe drug users, perhaps homeless. They don't feel safe. There's no place to park. Am I right about that?
Well, the parking's there. It's just the fact of it is you got to park farther away than most people like because they can't see where they're going from their car. In other words, when you go to a shopping center, you can see your shopping center.
Right.
You get out of your car, you know where the front door is. Here, you got to go to a street, then walk on another street to get around and go around to look in the
And
front
they
of
don't
the
want to do
store.
that at night.
No, they don't want to do that at night. Most of people who aren't familiar with the area won't do it. I'll say right now, though, I feel very safe doing it. It's not. But
Would you feel safe walking the Fulton Mall at night?
Oh, by myself with all the lights off? Probably not. But when they turn all the lights on and they have a flow of traffic of people walking back and forth, I have no problem with it.
Yeah.
We got to recognize too, John, that the demographics of our community has changed since that mall was put in.
Oh, yeah.
We're not fighting suburbia anymore. We're fighting the fact that we have a cultural demographics ability, I would say, to attract a whole section of our community, like they have done in LA on Alvarado Street and those types of things, to our downtown wall. Both the soccer games have proved that. Every time they
Right,
have one, they
right.
fill up the Chansey Stadium.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
I mean, just the other day, they had 12,500 people.
Yeah,
in
just
there.
a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, no question about that. Let's put up that photo of the current Fulton Mall, and now take a look at the photo here. How is that? The question is, how is that mall there going to compete with the likes of River Park and Fig Garden Village? I mean, all I have to say is get real.
Well, at River Park, you have something called the Shops at River Park, right?
Right.
It's like a mini little community, like
Right.
a little Disneyland. Well, it's trying to replicate this, if you really think about it, because you go park in a parking garage to walk to the shops at River Park. Now, why
Right.
is that? Because the folks feel comfortable about the businesses that are there.
Okay, but think about this, Doug. Let me ask you this. You know where Ashley Furniture is. Would you feel safe walking from Ashley Furniture all the way across the large parking lot and another parking lot to get to Edwards Theater at night? Would you feel safe in doing that?
I think many people do, because you go down there at night at the late movies, and there's still a lot of crowds hanging around there.
The same feeling does not exist for the Fulton Mall.
No, it doesn't, because you don't have but if you had the human traffic there, you had the cavitation of getting people there. But the question, the big question is, can you break that open again and make it happen again the way they were dreaming about it in the 60s? And
Do you have to change perception?
not only change perception, but I firmly believe you need to have so much energy after you do this expensive rehab, getting a federal grant, taking money out of Measure C, doing other things that they were talking about doing, expending some of the peripheral upgrades on some of those.
Can't they use that money for something else? The city has always squawked, at least lately, about the lack of money.
When you read the city staff report, the TOD, which is the Transportation Development Funds, it's Oriented Development, TOD, Transportation Oriented Development, and that is around bringing a different concept to transportation, whether it's a better bus depot or a wider street for a turn lane for high impacted vehicles, those types of things. That's what it's all about. The city has discovered that when they read the profile, they're the only city that qualifies for TOD money. But the TOD money was supposed to be spent in a lot of other areas of the city. They're saying now, typical city, we'll just grab it all and put it downtown.
Yeah, and put it down on Fulton Mall.
So
is it worth it?
So is it another...
That's the question. Is it worth spending all that money? Is it going to pay dividends down the road?
It seems that there's a mindset, unfortunately, whether it's elected officials or bureaucrats, that you always got to have a project going, okay? If you have a project going, it's like make work projects.
Yeah. We're doing something.
We're doing something. And I'm afraid this is another doing something.
Yeah.
But the problem is the money's there. Because if you give anybody a fistful of dollars,
don't give it to the city, because
they'll go spend it on things, and it may not be the best advantage for all the citizens of Fresno. And I think the city of downtown needs to start learning about. There's the rest of the communities here too.
Got to go to break. So the message from Doug Vagim today is leave the mall as is.
I would say leave it as is, and do things that bring attention to it in a way that hasn't been done before.
Yeah. Okay, talking to Doug Vagim, former supervisor. By the way, we're going to talk about water rates too. You'll want to listen up to this, because in the next 3 years or so, or 2 years, whatever it is, your water rates could more than double. Back in a moment.
From now on, when I sneeze, I'll try to sneeze more friendly.
Here talking politics on Connect with Me on MeTV Fresno, and a recent article in the Fresno Bee within the last couple of weeks, written by our friend here at the Bee, George Hostetter, talking about all of the properties owned by the city of Fresno to the tune of $1.3 billion with the B. Mm-hmm. And the city, according to this article, here it is right here, okay? I just printed it out. That's not the actual newspaper. The city doesn't know how to manage these properties. So question is, Doug, why don't they sell them?
Well, first of all, that article doesn't say is how many of those properties are owned by the redevelopment agency and how many of those properties are owned by the city of Fresno.
Can't they sell any of these?
Well, they can sell them, and as a matter of fact, they should be selling them. But the problem is that the market value for some of them, because they're remnant pieces, mm-hmm. or they're pieces that have maybe some problems under the soil, that type of thing. And that article didn't mention the fact that they do own properties that are on the hot hazard sites on the Federal Register. So that means that they have to go clean those up if they want to sell them.
And that costs money. Lots of money.
Millions of dollars, yeah.
So do many of these properties, would they need earthquake upgrades too?
Well, if they're buildings, they would probably, if someone would just go buy them outright, then that would be one thing. That would be probably the easiest way to do it. I would recommend that they do it if they want to cash in on it. The problem is, it seems to me that the city wants to get back into the rental business. In other words, they want to rehab some of these buildings and put them out for rent. I don't know if the city ought to be into that. I mean, they got these properties a lot.
Who's going to rent this space?
Well, that's a good question. But, in other words, you can make up another deal that we're doing something, and we're going to try to make this thing work, and we got property, and it looks good to try to sell it.
So do they want to rent this space to companies or to just individual people? or both?
Well, it depends on if the city owns it outright. For example, we just had a government agency buy the parking lot, which was just adjacent to the downtown main library.
Yeah.
On Tulare Street itself, right adjacent to the downtown library. There was a parking lot there. They sold it to the First Five for $12.25 a square foot. And that was a pretty good sale for them. But they turn around and sell the hotel conference center and parking lot to the Radisson Hotel for $2.4 million. That was 3 times bigger of a piece of property, and the structures themselves cost the city somewhere in the neighborhood of $25 million.
So they sold it for less money.
A lot less money.
A lot less
percentage
money.
of what it would cost the city to build it. So in other words, they make better out of raw land than they do out of buildings, evidently. But they got it on the tax rolls. That's important.
Right.
But the fact that I think what they're doing is, and it's good that they just bring it. The council member Brand is bringing it forward to have a discussion, at least get it out there. The problem is they're going to find out that there's so many pieces of property that they probably should have been dealing with over a long haul. Now they're going to be pushed on the front burner to try to deal with as showboating in a way to get this. Look what we can do. There might be a lot of mistakes made along the way.
If you look at the mayor, Ashley Swearingen, Measure G failed. Okay, this water rate thing, I don't know where it's headed.
We want to have the people have an opportunity to have ability to vote yes or no on it.
Well, it seems like the last couple of years, the projects that she's pushing and backing and trying to move forward on have been stalled, has been stopped dead in their tracks. Would you venture to say that some of these projects, she'll be judged on her mayorship on these projects? Would you consider her mayorship a failure or a moderate success, or how do you view it?
Well, like any stint in any political office, there's positives and there's negatives.
Okay.
And Mayor Swearingen's had some positive in the fact that she tackled a debt issue left to her by previous administrations. She's had to deal with the personnel issues of thinning out the staff. It's not an easy task on anybody's chore.
Yeah.
I got to give her credit in the fact that she had a strong mindset of what she wanted to do downtown, and she's pushed it. Unfortunately, the money's dried up. Redevelopment. Yeah. If you know, I'm on the oversight board, and one of the things that we are mission to do is dissolve the redevelopment
But do
agency.
people view her, in your opinion, as being overzealous and perhaps trying to gouge the taxpayers?
Well, I would say this water rate issue is a pure example of that. It's like you don't care about what happens to the individual. You're looking at the bigger picture. Let me step on your neck so I can pluck the high fruit for the bigger picture. I'm saying, no, you ought to worry about the little guy down there. That's the main thing. And then you can build your system up around that. And I'm very upset about the fact that, one, they don't, it's the most basic right in any government anywhere in the United States that the people own their government. It's their government. And the initiative in California is a vehicle to have redress to your government. They have spent probably over $250,000 on both sides to try to keep the people from the ability to vote on this yes or no question.
Well, they didn't want to vote on Measure G, even.
Right, and there they had to go get a referendum to stop the transfer of a private to a private entity from a publicly run thing. They could do that through a referendum. We have to use the initiative to put the rates on.
A lot of people might come back and say, well, you know what? That's why we vote for city council members, so they can make those tough decisions.
Exactly.
Why do we have to go to court? Why do we have to put it on the ballot?
Well,
Why
we
do
didn't
have
have, they took us to court. We don't have to go to court.
Yeah.
We just used the initiative, which is part of the California Constitution. They took us to court to say the Constitution's wrong and they're right. Okay, well, 4 judges now have said, no, they're wrong. We're on the right track, or the people are on the right track. Now, the question is, you ask about the fact that illusionary question about we voted them in, don't they have the ability to make their right decisions and we should just stand back? No. We gave them the power, what we gave up. We kept the power if they do something wrong to have redress, and one of them is the initiative.
Okay.
Now, the other part of it is a recall. Recalls are messy, and I would never want to even bring
nasty, too.
Yeah, they're nasty. So The initiative is a better way of doing it.
Okay.
It gives the people an opportunity to vote yes or no.
I want to dive headfirst into the water issue when we come back. Got to take a break. Doug Vagim is here. He's going to try to save you from those high water rates. That's what he claims. Back in a moment.
Remember me?
After practicing law, Raymond Burr fought crime.
You have the right to an attorney.
As a hard-boiled detective on wheels,
Ain't it the truth?
his name is Ironside.
Perhaps you wouldn't mind saying it again.
His name is Ironside.
All right, now you've said it.
Nothing slows him down.
I want to see this one firsthand.
Now on MeTV Fresno, Xfinity 187.
Well, what are we waiting for?
Back here with Doug Vagim and talking about the water rates possibly doubling, maybe tripling in the next couple of years here in the city of Fresno because, well, I'll let you explain it. Where do we stand on the water issue? What's the latest?
Okay, well, as last time I was here on the water rate issue is that we were pursuing to get an initiative before the voters. The city of Fresno stepped up and said that their decisions are paramount and we have no right as people to use the initiative to put a question before the voters.
There's a rare sight, by the way. This coming summer, you may not see that right there that often, sprinklers in the front yard or the back.
That's right. And when they raise these rates next summer and then the summer after that, which is only phase one of another double phase that they want to double the rates again
Right.
to do all this infrastructure work, when you look and you peel back what they're actually doing with the money that they're going to get from these rate increases, it's not for the infrastructure upgrades that's moving the high costs, it's for putting a plant a mile and a half east of town to go service a 20 square mile area that is now prime ag land that they have permission to go urbanize. And they want to urbanize it fast.
You call that plant Sprawl to McCall.
That's right.
Okay, what does that mean?
Well, it means that where they are right now is they run along the edge of Clovis Avenue, they go out to Fowler Avenue, they go out, they tip Temperance every once in a while, and they come back in. McCall's another 3 miles out from Temperance. Okay, they want to build this, and it's where the city limits are right now, where that plant is around Olive Avenue alignment. They want to put it a mile and a half east of where the city limits are right now.
Okay.
But it's not going to even be in the city, and they want us, the ratepayers, to pick up the tab for that.
Right, and so that's why they want to raise the water rates, in your opinion. Okay, so I'm going to go over the numbers here as I've been provided here by Doug Vagim. In August of 2013, the rate was 61 cents per, what is that? That's
Per 100 cubic
per
feet.
100 cubic feet, which is about 748 gallons of water. Okay. In 2016, you claim it's going to go up to $1.63.
That's what they passed. Yes.
Okay.
It's been passed.
Yeah, it's been passed.
Yeah.
Okay, so how are you going to stop that?
Well, our initiative will repeal those rates.
Where do you stand with the initiative?
Well,
You've already went to court, right?
Yeah, and we had to go through 4 judges.
Okay.
One Superior Court judge and one appellate court judge, where the justices there agreed with the Superior Court judge that we have a right to be on the streets with a petition.
Where do you stand with the signatures?
We're out there on the streets right now.
How many do you need, Doug?
Just under 5,000.
Okay, and how many do you have now, do you think?
Well, we probably got about 1,000, 1,500 in the bank.
All right, I want to show an up-close and personal look at this petition here. Of course, we broadcast each and every day from Ventura TV. You know that, 3619 East Ventura Avenue. If you want a petition, you can come by and get one, fill it out, sign it, turn it in if you're against high water rates. Again, this is an actual petition. We'll have them here at the front desk. You just come up and talk to Rafi, talk to Michelle, talk to Lucy. Anyone that's at the front desk there will have these petitions if you want to come by and pick one up and fill it out if you're interested in getting this initiative on the ballot. And the initiative will say what? You were having problems with the language of how it was going to be laid out, right?
Well, no, we didn't have problems with it. The city had a problem with it, and they came back in with what they're supposed to write a title and summary. That's what we've been waiting for. The title and
You
summary.
haven't gotten that yet.
Well, we did.
Oh, you did
Courts,
get it.
The court
Okay.
forced them to do that.
Okay.
Okay. And they spent
And is it to your satisfactory?
Well, the way they wrote it is basically it was a ballot argument like they did a political campaign. He's supposed to write an impartial argument. He didn't. Well, how could a city attorney who's embroiled in a lawsuit have an ability to write an independent, fair, and equitable title and summary? They can't. They should have sent it out to another law
He
firm.
works at the behest of the mayor.
And they should have sent it out to another law firm, but they didn't. We're dealing with folks that I don't think have much credibility, in my opinion. Okay.
Where? At City Hall?
At City Hall. They don't. They don't have much credibility. How could they possibly interpret in the California Constitution where it says they shall do something and say, we're higher than the California Constitution, we can do what we want? That's what we're dealing with here. Okay? That's what we're dealing with here. Something has to change. And the only way we can change that is give the people an opportunity to say yes or no on this. That's all we're trying to do, John, is say, do you agree or do you not agree? And before, they did not give the people much of a chance. They sent out a protest notice that looked more like a brochure for how to fix leaks in your house.
Yeah.
And most people just threw it away.
Now, you're saying the water rate may increase, if they get away with it, 263% by mid-2016.
Not may, will.
Yeah.
Change made them will. It's will change.
Okay.
And by middle of 2016, it goes up to 263% from what they were paying. And remember, the metered rates, when they set the metered rates back in 2009, equaled about 28% less water used if you wanted to have the same flat rate cost.
Right.
In other words, what we were paying in your flat rate, the city said you were estimating that you were using this much water. They set the meter rate 28% lower than that. So if you used 28% less water, you would pay the same as your flat rate. Okay? Well, most people didn't realize that until they... So in other words, it's a double whammy. It's like the old days when they took out, let's say...
how were you able to figure that out?
Well, they'll just use their facts and figures. It's available to them.
It's on the website?
It's on the website. You can pull that information. I could direct anybody to all of the backup information where I've been able to extract it. But the fact of it is, you remember in the days when they...
I thought the water rates were state mandated. They're not?
No, they're community by community.
Oh,
and the fact of it is,
okay.
you remember when when you used to go buy a 86 proof alcohol and you got a fifth, now you get 750 milliliters and it's 80 proof?
Well...
So you're
same analogy is what you're saying.
But you're paying more for it.
More.
Just a little more, but you're getting a lot less. This is the same
It's
scenario.
the same. It's
you're getting less, paying more.
They haven't put water meters in, say, cities like Sacramento yet, but it's coming.
Well, Sacramento got a special dispensation that Fresno didn't even try to do because they wanted to jam down all this stuff on us real fast. Sacramento.
Well, what special treatment did Sacramento get?
They have the ability to go out to 2025 before they have to bring in their...
But once they do, their rates will be different than ours.
Well, yeah, their rates are going to be independent of theirs, right? Because
each community they set the rates.
They set the rates. That's exactly right, and it's based on where you get your water. Fresno has ample water. Okay, we have rights, entitlements to water out of 2 lakes, 2 river systems.
They're almost dry, by the way.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, how is the drought going to affect this whole thing?
Well, remember, this, the forerunners to our California water system put something in place that allows our water system to be resilient. Resilient to a degree that you could have drought years like this and still have ample water in the system.
But everybody claims that there's no storage.
Okay, well, not enough storage, but when the Fed said we need to dump some of that water down the river without going to ag and going straight to the ocean, that's why the lakes are as low as they are now, because of that. It's a double whammy. The other issue in Fresno is the fact that we do have an underground aquifer. I think there's misleading information on its resiliency.
We do have enough water, is what you're saying.
There's plenty of water in the reserve in our aquifer. We can't just...
Can we tap it?
Well, everybody is tapping our water reserve. You go on the west side of Fresno, and there's well farms out there dumping water out of the ground. You know why they put... Well, there's a whole irrigation district that was put in place in this, just on the west side of Fresno city limits. Its purpose was to lower the water table because it was pumping out. It was going out of the ground.
So you're saying we can use that water?
Absolutely.
The reserve. We can just tap into it.
Absolutely. Now that doesn't mean that we shouldn't be putting in some of these plants.
That doesn't mean we shouldn't build more storage units.
More storage and this water plant. My beef with the water plant was that I think the people who are going to benefit from it ought to pay for it.
We got 10 seconds.
Okay.
How do they get a hold of you? Quick.
Call me at 485-1719. That's 559-485-1719. And go to lowerwaterbill.com. Lowerwaterbill.com. And you can get all the information and links to what we have. And ask for petitions. We need circulators.
All right. Petitions right here, available at Ventura TV, 3619 East Ventura Avenue. That's going to do it for us today. Our thanks to Doug Vagim for coming in on short notice. We're back again with another edition of Connect with Me tomorrow.